Well, it's been a few weeks since I made one of these little videos where I just talk about how I'm feeling. I hope you're all well and safe. Now, what I've been thinking about is reasons to be cheerful or not. So, number one year without rats. Obviously, that is not a happy time for me. But I had no idea it would be this long to sort my house out, and then of course, we have the coronavirus come along, which has messed up everything, and so it would not be a good time for me to get rats when I can't safely leave the house. I don't have any transport. So everything is up in the air with that. I have no date, I have nothing to work towards, no target. And so I'm just going to have to carry on and not think about that too much. I'm still helping people to rehome their rats, and I'm still answering people's questions. I still get phone calls through my charity asking for advice. So I will continue to do that, but it's very upsetting that I can't do as much as I would normally do. Number two, the vulnerable now allowed out for a walk every day. Is it safe? Now, this is a real worry for lots of people who feel that maybe it isn't safe for us to go for a walk. I'm not going out because originally we were told the 30th of June if you're in the highly vulnerable group that should be shielding. And because of the way people are acting where I live, where they're not following social distancing and they're congregating in groups and meeting up with people, I personally don't feel it's safe for me to go out of my house at the moment. So I'm not going to. I'm going to wait and see what happens for the next few weeks. But it is a real worry. And if this is something that's worrying you, I'd talk to your GP about your personal circumstances and see what they recommend. And I think a lot of it depends on where you live, how your neighbours, how the people in your town or village, whether they're maintaining social distancing, how bad the virus still is where you live. But this is definitely a worry because I know some people can't wait to go out and they're rushing out and going for their little walk, but they're being careful about going early in the morning so they don't meet too many people. So, yes, I think for lots of people, I've got number three, accepting life has changed forever. For lots of people with health problems, life hasn't changed that much regarding going out, but we still have extra worry now about getting sick from something else. So that is not good. You might be able to hear my asthma is quite bad. I've had very bad hay fever the last few weeks, so that's a reason that I'm not going out. So accepting life has changed forever is a very daunting thought. I think for a lot of people who are otherwise fit and healthy, they will get back into a more normal life, but I think that everyone is going to be much more aware of washing hands and using sanitizers and things. Well, hopefully they will be, because they say that we could have further pandemics, that this could come back again because viruses change and mutate, and they are expecting it to come back, and that possibly we have to go into further lockdowns. So making plans. Number four, planning for another full lockdown. I think this is very important, something that we have to do. Many people got caught out on the first lockdown because although we knew this virus was coming, I think it's hard to take it seriously in some respects until it actually gets here. So people with forward thinking would have planned and would have done a lot. I always, keep a reasonable amount of food and medicines in the house, but even for myself, some of my stocks were quite low because it was just run down over Christmas, and we were eating up things that were in the freezer ready to clean the freezer and restock. So even for me, the first few weeks were quite tricky and we couldn't get things. And I think I said in one of my other videos, really wished I had a small chest freezer that I could store some bread, because we were struggling to get anything at all. So planning for another full lockdown, I think, is quite important. Obviously, we don't want to panic buy. I think the supermarkets now will put measures in place if we have another lockdown. They won't let people empty the shelves. Hopefully, they will act a lot sooner so people will still be able to get their basic supplies. And they have done well with opening extra slots. So it's a lot easier to get your food delivered now than it was. And I think if you just make sure you've got enough food for a couple of weeks, you've got your medicines for a month's supply of medicines, you've got your pet stuff, at least you're prepared. At least we know what to expect if this happens again. Or I should say when this happens again, because I'm pretty certain we will probably go into another lockdown. And what have we learned from this experience? I think the most important thing that a lot of people have learnt, things that they took for granted, is being close to their family and friends, actually seeing people in person. Now, I don't see my family as often as I want because of the distance, but what it's made me realise is that I do live far too far away and that I do need to go back and live closer to family. I can't expect everyone to move where I live. Very sad. I'm very torn because I really love what the location of, although I don't like the actual location I'm in at the moment, I do like my general area where I live. And if I could get back into living exactly where I lived before, I'd be really happy. But I still have the problem that I'm too far away, and with the problems with travelling, I just don't know when I will ever be able to go and visit my relatives. I have to rely on, when people can travel safely and mix safely, I have to rely on my relatives coming to me. Now, some of them can't because they're old and they don't drive. So there are some people I just don't know when I'm going to see again, and that's really sad. So, with all the problems with my house, I will look at going back to another area where I can be close to people, because right now I could be outside and meet with my family in the garden, which I just can't do now because they can't get to me. So I think it makes it, obviously, we've always known your family is really, or should be, most important to you. But you know, when something like this happens, we take it for granted that you can hop on a boat or a train or get in your car and go where you want, and it makes you realise, and that's taken away from you, how awful that is, that situation. Actually, staying in doesn't worry me, but not knowing when I'm going to see my family, that really does upset me a lot. So, thankfully, you know, we have things to be thankful for, that currently everyone's safe, but it's not a good experience totally. Some people live in areas where the community spirit has really come out, and it's more like the older times when you knew all your neighbours, you said hello, people looked out for each other, and I think that's wonderful. That has only happened to a very tiny extent where I live. The people who I already knew, they are asking everyone, do you need anything, can I do anything for you, which is lovely. But the people that I didn't know, I still don't know. So it's a bit of a mixed experience here, but I think for lots of people, you suddenly know your neighbours and you didn't really know them before, apart from to say hello in passing. So I think that's really nice. So though obviously you see them from a distance, you're not like having a cup of tea in their house or anything. I think that community thing of people looking out for each other is something that's really good. And I think we've learned a lot about going back to the old ways, about cooking for ourselves. I know it's still really hard to get some of the ingredients, but a homemade cake, really lovely rather than a shop bought one. And it's a thing you can do together with the whole family involved. And even if they don't like cooking or washing up, I'm sure the rest of the family like eating the cake. So there are things that we can do, spending quality time with the people we do live with. That is good. And I think really lovely is more time for people to be creative, of course. That's really wonderful. So there's lots of things we have learnt that I think we need to take forward. And yeah, I think it's still the same. Stay safe and be kind and look out for each other and look after your physical health as well as your mental health, and just do the best you can to survive this situation and take one day at a time and look for the positive in every day. There's, as I've mentioned before, one of my friends said to me, there's always something to look forward to, and I think we have to just hold on to that and just keep going as best we can. And yeah, I think that's all I can say today. This is really what I've been thinking. There's always something reason not to be cheerful, but again, there's always something good in your life that you may have to look for that good thing, but there's always something that you can think of, that you can do, some activity that you enjoy. So that's it for today, and I will catch up with you again soon.